I don't know. Why do we cover Nicholas Fuentes? Probably because he's a person on the internet who spreads dangerous ideas that happen to proliferate and echo across the just basement dwellers of the entirety of the web. That's my take. I could be incorrect. It could be also that I'm a masochist and therefore this is like the fastest way to commit self-harm. I don't know. You decide. You decide. But we're going to get into the fan art section first before we do any of that. So let's go ahead and check out from a random Griffin Cat, Furry Suris, now digitally colored and shaded. Perhaps I put more time and effort into this than I should have. Random Griffin Cat, any amount of time and effort you put into fan art is valid. And I'm not saying that just because it's fan art of me, but there might be a bias there. Who knows? The next one we have is from Mythinder91, Cyberpunk Suris, because yes, very, very much so, especially like the double rings on the tail. I do. Remember, guys, any amount of effort you put in the fan art is valid. Yes, even if you put 0 effort in, it's still valid. That stick figure, valid. That amazing art piece that you drew that made me hire you as an actual artist for the channel, also valid. Speaking of that, speaking of literally exactly those words that I said, from Pernia, who is a channel artist for the channel, who has done several pieces that have been used on the channel and also is the artist for the Suris Dakimakura, fooling around with the DALL-E mini AI system. So Orc Cat Girl Suris sketches. Jesus fucking Christ. DALL-E is either the best or the worst thing that has happened to the internet recently. But also, damn it, I guess it's canon. I guess it's canon that that's a thing we can do. I guess so. Avalon of Admin says, even my coins, especially your coins, much to my chagrin. Anyways, as always, everyone, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in the future episodes, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's get right into things, but not before I do my regular plug and play session. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and there's always a Patreon as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at our good buddy, Nick Fuentes. He's, well, I want to say he's shaped like a friend, but he's a little too wiry for that. Let's go ahead and check it out.
We have got to talk about the fundamentals of our worldview.
Do we? Do we really? I need to increase the volume on this before we talk about the fundamentals of our worldview. I really do. Hold on a second. Let me see here. I need to download a thing. This is a thing I used to have. Because Cherry sent it to me, and I lost it. Because it turns out, me and my computer breaking prevented me from fixing this. So let's go ahead and go up here, and boom. Now we've got our volume boosted. Let's see. Can we hear him now?
And what it would look like to build a society based.
That's a little better. It's a little better. Almost there, I'd say. Here we go. Okay. Come on, Nikki. Let's go.
We have got to talk about the fundamentals of our worldview.
It's still not high enough. How? All right. All the way.
We have got to talk about the fundamentals of our worldview and what it would look like to build a society based on our distinct worldview, which is different from the left, different from a godless, atheist, constructivist, liberal worldview. And what does that look like? Does that look like a society where you have gay marriage and birth control and contraceptives and legal, ubiquitous internet pornography and all the rest, but transgender kids aren't playing in girls' water polo? No, that's not what it looks like. It looks like a society where women don't have the right to vote. And it looks like a society where boys and girls get married as teenagers.
All right, let's start with a couple of these. So the things Nick does not like, apparently, obviously, are godless atheist societies and ubiquitous internet porn. Despite the ubiquitous internet porn that was found that Nick Fuentes had, the trans porn. Despite that shit, you know, despite that being there, he does not want that. He does not like that. Okay, fair, sure, why not? I too hate the things that I consume. I hate Diet Dr. Pepper despite my addiction to it. I hate Magic the Gathering despite my addiction to it. That was my dog sneezing. I hate all of these things despite me consuming them. Okay, Nick. Secondly, let's go and begin the first 2 points here. He doesn't want women to have the right to vote. This is because people like Nick Fuentes do not view women as people. People get the right to vote. People get to vote on things that affect them. People have a say in things that affect them and their lives. But you're not a person in Nick's eye. Also, speaking of people who aren't people, the mini-axe. Why? The mini-axe says, I have had this from the start, but I had to wait for this topic. Jesus fucking Christ. Mini-axe, okay, look. I'm going to level with you, all right? I'm going to level with you. No. Absolutely not. Avalon of Babylon gets theirs first. Avalon of Babylon, thank you for redeeming your points for an... You fucking degenerate. Also... Oh. Featherboa has also activated OO shields. Fair enough. Fair enough. We have been protected. We have. I also am debating on whether or not the shields leave. I don't know if we keep the shields going forward. Feather says, I like making you all suffer. The shields are unethical? How are the shields unethical? I mean, I agree that maybe the shields don't need to be a thing. But I don't know if I'd agree with unethical. However, I am rejecting the shields. I am rejecting them. As much as I don't want to say the war words, as much as I don't want to say any of them, I think that it's only fair that people who have saved up their points get their points used. That's going to be the position going forward on that. So, as much as I would like to absolutely destroy Miniax for trying to force me to say these fucking cringy-ass words, I am going to respect their right to make me say them. So for 50,001 channel points... Oh, well. Oh, well. There. I don't want to. I do not like. But we're going to do it. No. So there we go. Say says had to balance it out. There we go. Everything is unavailable. Thank you very much for redeeming your points for an owl. Owl. That's what we're gonna do. It's only fair. Okay. So Nick has a platform to say this because why? We'll see. Fuentes has been kicked off of several platforms. Fuentes has been kicked off of several platforms. Refund the shields thing? I did. I refunded the shields. And you're right, Kate. It's when I glance at your name and I'm used to talking to Salem, my brain immediately goes, say. But right, it is K. I am sorry. But I have refunded the shields. Let's get back to Fuentes. He's been kicked off of several platforms. He was kicked off of YouTube and Twitch, and I believe he's also been yeeted off of DLive. I'm fairly certain. I could be wrong. They might have yeeted him as well. But he's like a cockroach. He always finds a platform. He always finds a place. He always manages it. Which sucks for us, unfortunately. It means that he can keep on spreading his stuff. And it also makes him seem like he is a poor, persecuted campus conservative. Those are the words that he uses. He got banned on Twitter, too, for the January 6th stuff, I believe. He gets banned off of a lot of stuff. The thing is, though, is that the right has more money than the left. This is just an understood thing. Like, on the left, the biggest meme is George Soros money, despite nobody getting fucking George Soros money. Whereas on the right, you have PragerU, you have the Koch brothers, you have fucking big oil tech billionaires. You've got all kinds of shit on the right where funding is concerned. And also a lot of people who politically skew right tend to have more money on top of that. They tend to have more money in general than people who, you know, are donating to leftist campaigns. A lot of leftist stuff tends to have to be funded communally between a lot of between multiple people, as opposed to a handful of really big single donors. And what we find is, awkwardly, platforms that tend to favor the right tend to be platforms that have less moderation. So what you get is that the platforms that have a lot of money, like, you know, Facebook and Twitter, that have moderation, say what you will about the moderation on those platforms and how effective or ineffective it is. When those platforms throw people out, they tend to go to these smaller, more marginalized platforms. Or more margined platforms. They're not marginalized by any means. They tend to find themselves on fringe platforms, smaller ones, with less money for infrastructure and certainly less money for moderation, but they find themselves there and they don't need as much money for infrastructure because there's just fewer people there. So this does explain bullshit like the prosperity gospel. Yeah, a lot of that stuff tends to favor people who already have money. And by favor, I don't mean it's good for them. But you know what I mean. So Twitter's been suppressing hurtful words lately like moron, stupid, and bullshit. No, they fucking haven't. No, they haven't. I will literally go on Twitter right now and say all of those words. Like, it will take me 2 seconds. Here, we'll just do a test. Let's see if Twitter moderation hits me. Let's say moron, stupid, bullshit. Let's see how many trigger phrases we need. Fuck, ass, shit, cum, bitch. Then what else do we need? What else do we need here? You get a pop-up telling me people don't tweet like that? Yeah, that's not the same thing, though. I get pop-ups like that every now and again when I get in a fight with somebody, but that's not Twitter, like, trying to make safe spaces. You might need to get an accurate definition for a safe space. Twitter's not a safe space for literally anybody. Like, it's not suppressing hurtful words when they just go, hey, maybe don't do this. That's not suppressing. That's just having a prompt because Twitter's a naturally toxic website. It's literally just a be nice feature. They're not suppressing jack shit. You can say all of that shit and it doesn't affect anybody or anything. So you should quote Carlin's banned words directly. I don't remember all of them. So their platforms are nightmarishly unpleasant. Also, they need an audience of triggerable libs to make them feel that they matter. Yep. But let's go ahead and continue with Fuentes. Let's go ahead and see.
And start having kids, and they don't use birth control, and they don't use contraceptives, and they have big families and a high birth rate, and it looks like women wearing veils at church, and it looks like...
So, Nick Fuentes wants everybody fucking all the time. The women constantly popping out babies. He wants an incredibly high birth rate, but he wants women to not show themselves in church. Women wearing veils. Yeah, video's hidden. I'm done. I keep on forgetting that. So, okay, Nick. Sure. Sure thing. We've got a world where women have no rights. That's what it is. That's all he wants is a world where women have no rights. He wants a world where, despite him having zero dating experience with a woman whatsoever, all of his dating experience is with a Nazi catboy. All of it. He wants a world where he gets to oppress women. That's what he wants. Now, I'm curious how many people in his chat are rooting for that. We don't see his chat on screen. I don't. I have no idea. Nick only likes women for breeding and cooking so he can have sex with all the pool boys he can. Yep. Evil Dead Guy says, I don't know your thoughts on Hunter, but he owned Nick in a debate. I like Hunter.
Women not being in the workforce. And it looks like mothers raising their kids. And it looks like pornography being banned.
Looks like pornography being banned. So here's the thing. Conservatives who want pornography being banned, I will go out on a limb and say most of them watch porn. Most of them do. However, most of them have a shame kink. I am almost certain that the majority of them that want porn banned have a shame kink, and they want it banned so that it's hotter for them. If porn is banned, it is hotter for them to watch it. If gay sex is banned, it's hotter for them to have it. They want the shame. They want the, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to do that. They want that. Religion will also have you watching porn and feeling bad about it, not watching it. Yep. They want the shame. They want it to feel like something they're not supposed to do, because I think that's what they're addicted to. Because a lot of conservatives, not all, but a lot of them tend to be grounded in Christian religiosity, at least here in the States. And a lot of that Christian religiosity is about taking that shame for things you do. And I have no doubt in my mind that a large portion of those people have fetishized their own shame and subconsciously want to create a world where there is more of that. Where there is more of that. Oh my God, I'm such a monster. Look at me. I came on that poor man's face. I'm such a monster. That's what they want. That's what they want. At least that's my thought. I could be wrong. Maybe they're just stupid. But those are the two things I see. Either there's a shame kink or there's stupidity. Because I'm fairly certain, with the ubiquity of porn, that most people who want it banned also fucking watch it. Lantern, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an owl. And Jabenson, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. I enjoyed the Bezos box. Let's continue.
And homosexuality and transsexuality, as well as heterosexual sodomy, as well as fornication and adultery.
So heterosexual sodomy. So he wants a world where sex is boring. Because heterosexual sodomy is oral sex and anal sex, even if they're heterosexual. So transsexuality, what is that? That's the word we used to use for transgenderism before it was more widely understood that gender is a social construct. That's like societally, that is what that word was before we had a stronger understanding. Said he is gay, right? Who knows? He might be. But Nick might also be there for the shame. Create a world where these things are so it's a dated, it is a dated term. It is a very dated term. And leave it to Nick to use the dated term instead of the current term. So wasn't there a thing about porn being more popular in red states along with underage pregnancy being more of a thing there? Yeah. Yeah, just in general, these things that the right is supposed to abhor, they tend to do. They tend to do en masse. Not all of them, not all the time, but as a general tendency, that's how things operate.
Being shamed by the society, and maybe in some places, in some jurisdictions, regulated by the law.
So he does want the shame. And I guess the law makes it kinkier too. Officer, I had no idea. I had no idea that a 15-man bukkake was illegal. I had no idea. I was just hungry, okay? I was very hungry, and I needed a lot of sausage, sir. Sir, why are you taking your clothes off? That's Nick. He wants a world where all of this exists, because I think it's the only way he can gratify himself anymore, personally. I could be entirely off base. Who knows? Who knows? But from where I stand, I don't see a logical reason for this. I don't see a logical reason for any of this. I don't even see many ideological reasons for this, so I'm stuck with the fetish. I'm stuck with that. Bend over the trunk, sir. It's time for a strip search. Yeah, that's where we're at.
It's not enough to say we're against trannies. You got to be against women's rights, too. It's not enough to be against blue-haired feminism. You got to be against women getting educated.
I feel as though we hit parity. Oh, the T slur. I'm not even going to react to the slur. Yes, he did slur. Of course he did. What's the... Yes, of course he slurred. It's Nick Fuentes. Milkumi, thank you for the follow. But also, like, I don't... Okay, show of hands in the chat. Who here is surprised he slurred? Who here is surprised that Nicholas Fuentes, known Nazi, used to slur? Who? There's no even need to react to the thing. It's just part of his vernacular at this point. Is it wrong? Yes. Is there a problem with it, especially on public platforms? Absolutely. Is there a reason to continue talking about it? No, not really. It's Nick. We know he's going to do that. It's like if Nick does an anti-Semitism. Oh no, Nick does an anti-Semitism? He said something about Jews? Again? Ah, okay. So it's a day that ends in Y, right? Sworgu says disappointed. I'm not even disappointed. For me to be disappointed, I would have to have expectations. I don't. I long ago stopped having any expectations with Nick. What he's doing is he's getting all of those marginalized people. Because here's the thing. When you're on YouTube, you tend to have to play both sides a little bit, right? Just a little bit if you're in Nick's if you're in Nick's camp. Because if you're in Nick's camp, the people who are going to come to your channel are anybody from all sides of the political spectrum. So you're going to code your language a little bit with enough euphemism that people who don't know what you're talking about will sit here and watch. And people who do know what you're talking about will go, you know, yep, I agree with all of that. Fuck women's rights. So, however, also, thank you very much, Nami Neko, for redeeming your points for an ada. You fucking degenerate. But in Nick's case, when he gets knocked onto D-Live, when he gets knocked onto Cozy.tv, when he gets knocked onto the next platform and the next platform and the next platform, this is an opportunity for him. He no longer has to be hinged. He can be unhinged. Because the audiences that are largely on those platforms are people who have been kicked off of the other platforms. They have been people who have been knocked out due to responsible moderation, and now they're here. You stop having an audience of moderate Republicans and right-leaning Democrats and stuff like that. You start having an audience of Nazis and predators and idiots. You start just having that. Also, watt power high. Because you are now on a platform where you don't have to censor yourself, you don't have to cater to any one side that you do not politically rely on, you can just say the most off-the-wall shit, because the only people who are there listening to you are the extremists. That's all you've got anymore. And when the only people Nick Fuentes can talk to are the extremists, the only language he has to use is the language of the extreme.
Okay? Or else, what are we really trying to achieve here? 1999? 1999 sucked too. We want to go back to 1099. We want to go back to the Middle Ages. So, we're burning your gay pride flag. We're burning your gay pride float. And then we're going to drag your bitch wife out of her house, kicking and screaming. And then we're going to burn her at the stake, too, for being a witch.
And then, of course, we just get the calls for murdering people. Because, again, this is the natural flow, right? This is how the shit flows down. Yeah, he wants the bubonic plague, feudalism, and just being able to kill women. That's what he wants. Nick Fuentes and the audience that supports him by proxy, they just want to beat women, rape women, kill women, and they make no bones about it. They don't have to actually utilize... They don't have to actually use any thought process to get there. They don't have to use anything, because those audiences, like I said, they've been kicked off of so many platforms. This is all they have left. This is where they're at. Whereas, and this is something Innuendo Studios talked about in a video of his a long time ago, called the death of a euphemism. The death of the euphemism is a very strange thing to witness, usually. It's the moment where all of the euphemistic language, where all of the flowery language, where all of the replacement words stop having to be used. And it's a very weird thing, because for the longest time, if your job is to decipher the thing that a right-wing extremist says, when they say, when they say 1488, you're supposed to be able to go in and go, actually, this is a Nazi dog whistle. But when they start saying Heil Hitler, suddenly you're in a very strange place. It's very hard to figure out what to say anymore, because you're no longer deciphering coded language. You're just listening to them speak. All it is. I'm also fairly certain I know it's coming in about 2 seconds. So technically the bubonic plague, Black Death arrived, so that'd be pre-plague. Well, it'd still be pre their ability to deal with it. It'd be before their ability to deal with it. So as much as I want to comment on the specifics on Fuentes, on the terrible things that he is and says and pilots to his audience, I think the more interesting angle here is watching what happens when an extremist only has the extreme crowd to talk to anymore. Because Nick Fuentes, as he spoke to his audience 3 years ago, was extreme, yes, was a problem, yes. But there's a difference between cookie question Nick Fuentes and Jewish Question Nick Fuentes. Said, what platform was this on? This one was on cozy.tv. So, after being kicked off of several places, that's where he ends up. But anyways, as always, everybody, let me know what you think in the comment section below this one that gets on YouTube. For me personally, I've made my point. Most of this is observational. Most of this is watching what happens when a cow's been kicked from several pastures and all they have left is the open field with nothing but predators around them. As always, hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and insert end of video tagline here.